So let's talk about fitness, but maybe not in the way you usually think about it. We're not just going to focus on the exercises you do. Instead, we're going to dive into the incredible story of what your body does in response. It's this amazing biological journey of challenge, response, and transformation. So let's pull back the curtain and see what's really going on inside.
I mean, have you ever stopped mid-workout and actually wondered, beyond the sweat and the burn, what's happening on a cellular level? What's actually changing? Well, that's the exact question we're going to answer. We're going to follow that journey right from the starting line all the way to peak performance.
Think about it like this. Every single training session you do is basically a signal. It's a call to action. You're telling your body, hey, what we've got right now, it's not quite cutting it for this new challenge. And your body, which is just this incredible adaptation machine, it listens, and it starts to change. Okay, first things first, let's get our terms straight. On one hand, you've got muscular endurance. That's that deep burn you feel when you're knocking out a bunch of reps in a set of squats. But then there's cardiorespiratory endurance. That's the engine that keeps you going on a long run or a bike ride or a swim. And it's the second type, this whole body endurance, that triggers some of the most amazing changes we're going to talk about. So, where does this all begin? Well, it all starts with your body's central engine, your cardiovascular system. You can literally think of endurance training as giving your whole oxygen delivery network a massive upgrade. And it all starts with the pump itself, your heart. And this is where it gets really fascinating. Your heart physically remodels itself. The main pumping chamber, the left ventricle, it literally gets bigger and its walls get stronger. This lets it push out way more blood with every single beat. That's what we call stroke volume. And because it's so much more efficient now, your resting heart rate actually drops. Your body even makes more blood, mostly plasma, just to fill up this newly upgraded, more powerful system. It's amazing. So what's the actual payoff from all this work? Well, just look at these numbers. When you're resting, your heart rate is lower, but because you're pumping more blood per beat, your total cardiac output stays about the same. But here's the magic. During all-out exercise, that massively increased stroke volume means your total cardiac output goes through the roof. That, right there, is a serious performance upgrade. And this brings us to one of the most important takeaways for anyone doing endurance sports. The real bottleneck to your performance isn't just the raw strength of your muscles. It's the capacity of your entire system, your heart, your lungs, your blood, to get oxygen to those working muscles. Improving that delivery system is priority number one.
All right, so we've upgraded the whole oxygen delivery system. The superhighway is built. Now let's zoom in to the destination, the muscles themselves. Because once all that oxygen-rich blood arrives, the local machinery has to be ready to put it to work.
So how do your muscles even get the memo that they need to adapt? It all comes down to signaling proteins, and PGC1 alpha is a key player. You can think of it as the master switch or the foreman on a construction site. When you exercise, you flip this switch and it starts barking out a whole cascade of orders to build a bigger, better energy factory right inside your muscle cells. One of the first orders of business? Build more roads. Training dramatically increases your capillary density. These are the tiny little last-mile blood vessels that deliver oxygen right to the doorstep of your muscle fibers. The more capillaries you have, the less traffic there is, and the faster you can get that precious oxygen delivered. And what's at the end of all these new roads? More power plants. That's what mitochondria are. Training triggers this huge boom in both the size and the number of your mitochondria. These are the little organelles inside your cells that actually use oxygen to generate energy. More mitochondria means a much, much higher capacity to produce that energy aerobically, which is the key to fighting off fatigue. Now, once oxygen arrives at the muscle, something has to grab it from the blood and shuttle it over to those shiny new mitochondria. That's the job of a protein called myoglobin. And get this, with consistent training, the amount of myoglobin in your muscles can increase by as much as 75 to 80%. It's like adding a massive fleet of new delivery trucks inside every single muscle cell. And finally, the muscle fibers themselves start to change. Your type 1 fibers, the slow twitch ones that are built for endurance, they actually get bigger. And what's really cool is that some of your super explosive, fast twitch type 2X fibers actually start to transition and become more like type 2A fibers, which are kind of fatigue-resistant hybrid. Your body is literally remodeling your muscles to be better at sustained effort. Okay, so We've upgraded the engine, and we've totally refined the local machinery. We've done all this incredible work under the hood. So, what does it all feel like? How does this translate into real-world performance gains that you can actually measure? The gold standard for measuring all of these upgrades working together is your VO2 max. Basically, it's the maximum rate your body can take in and use oxygen when you're going all out. It's a direct reflection of your bigger heart, denser capillaries, and all those new mitochondria. For someone who's just starting out, seeing a 15 to 20% jump in VO2 max isn't just a number, it's a game changer. But here's a little secret that separates good athletes from really great ones. While VO2 max is like the maximum potential of your engine, your lactate threshold is what determines your sustainable pace. It's your red line. Training pushes that threshold higher and higher, which means you can hold a faster pace for way longer before that burn forces you to slow down. For a lot of competitive athletes, raising this threshold is everything. So let's put it all together. The rewards are just immense. You can sustain a higher intensity for longer. Your body gets way better at burning fat for fuel, which is great because it saves your limited carb stores for when you really need to hit the gas. And maybe the best part, all your day-to-day efforts just feel easier. Now, as you might guess, this whole transformation journey isn't a one-size-fits-all deal. It doesn't look exactly the same for everybody. There are some really important nuances that kind of determine how your body is going to respond to all this hard work. People always ask, are great athletes born or are they made? Well, the real answer is both. Training is obviously hugely important, but your genetics play a massive role too. They can account for up to half of the difference we see in VO2 max between different people. The way to think about it is your genes kind of set your ultimate potential, your ceiling, but it's your training that determines how close you actually get to that ceiling. This also explains why two people can follow the exact same training program and get wildly different results. Some of us are genetically high responders, and we adapt really quickly. Others are low responders. Now, that doesn't mean training isn't working for them. It just might mean they need to tweak things a bit to find what really unlocks those big gains. And what if you're short on time? Well, this is where high-intensity interval training, HIIT, can be an incredible tool. These short, all-out bursts of effort can trigger many of the same powerful adaptations we've been talking about, like that crucial mitochondrial growth, but in a fraction of the time of traditional cardio. And finally, we have to talk about the principle of specificity. Your body is smart. It's incredibly efficient. It adapts very specifically to the exact stress you put on it. So if you want to become a better runner, the single best thing you can do is run. If you want to be a better cyclist, you've got to cycle. Your biggest gains will always come from practicing the specific thing you want to get good at. So, what's the big picture here? What's the main takeaway? It's that your body is not a static thing. It is a dynamic, incredibly adaptable system that is literally just waiting for a challenge. From the chambers of your heart all the way down to the tiny power plants in your cells, it is ready to remodel and rebuild itself to be stronger, faster, and more resilient. The only question left is what challenge are you going to give it next?